This is great. You tried to match me or something?
Well, not intentionally.
Yeah, you did that intentionally.
Okay.
You saw the green, went back upstairs?
No, that's not what happened. I say I'm usually not nervous about an episode. But
Why are you nervous?
You're going to find out in a second.
Oh, my God, I look that good? I make you sweat.
No, I mean, you do look good, but that's not why I'm nervous.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, guys, family, welcome to another episode of Keeping Up with the Consorts. I'm your host, Reverend Napoleon Lawson, and I'm joined by my co-host, Sunny Days. Where do I begin?
Ooh.
Everything happens for a reason, okay? I know I promised our next episode was going to be me and Lexus. And I called her yesterday. I told her, hey, let me know when you are free so we can get into the studio and record. As expected, she blew me off, which was fine. And then I went on with my day. Now, what I didn't tell you, because I didn't know it was going to be a major issue. Well, this is what's relevant regarding Lexus. It was fortuitous and in God's will that she be out of the house today. Because depending on your response, we need to make space for another potential consort. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give you the backdrop. Friday night, memory calls me. Well, first of all,
so many parts.
I'm so nervous. Before we get into this, I just want to remind you, we're in the business of family.
Right.
We focus on helping primarily Christian single mothers, but single mothers who we are close to and who potentially might become a part of our faith. So this is what we do, okay? So I'm prefacing this. I also want to lay the foundation and state that you love me. And I love you.
Okay.
And I wouldn't ask this of you unless I was really in a pickle, okay?
Ooh.
Yeah, but and I know I said that I wouldn't try to bring anybody into the household until we took them through a process. But I'm really in a jam. So I really want you to keep an open mind and an open heart to what I'm about to say.
Ooh, Lord, can we pray? That's a lie.
Yeah, that's a lie.
And I do love you.
But this is a big ass, because I know how you are about your peace.
I ain't got that ass.
This is a big one. Okay, so Friday night, memory calls me, and she says, who's at Midway? And I said, Sam, more than likely. And I said, why? And she says, because I have an investor who wants to see the property. Now, guys, for those of you who don't know what Midway is, my family and I, we own several single-family homes, and one of them is near Midway Airport. And it's a home that is in badly needed repair. I've been financing the mortgage for the most part. Not for the most part, for several months now, and it's killing me, okay? So initially, we tried to sell the property, but in the shape that it's in, you can't sell it at market value. And usually when an investor comes in, they want to lowball you, which means the last offer we had from an investor, they gave us a low offer. And I initially accepted the offer because out of desperation, but I was going to have to come to the table with like $12,000, $13,000 just to get rid of the property, okay? And I was going to end up owing something to the realtor. I didn't want to do that, okay? So I canceled that deal and just figured I would hold on to it, try to fix it up, and tough it out, okay?
Right.
So Friday, she comes to me and she says, hey, a realtor called me, and he has an investor who lives in the neighborhood, who's familiar with our property, and he wants to take a look at it because he might be interested in making an offer. So I say, okay. Now, I'm not making a big deal about it because when I hear investor, I'm thinking another lowball offer. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just holding my breath to see what happens. And the investor goes out Saturday. He looks at the property. A few hours pass, and then he calls Memory, the realtor, and he says, "Hey, my investor wants to make an offer. We'll give you $250 for it, which is about $15,000 over what we owe." Okay, This is perfect. This covers what we owe in the mortgage, and it covers any closing costs or whatever we're going to have, and they're going to do the repairs. So now it's out of my hair. Okay. Mm-hmm. So in this sense, I'm very happy about this development that God just blessed me with out of the sky that I didn't see coming. But there's a problem with this. You know the problem, right? What's the problem? See if you know.
The people that's at Midway is not going to have a place to stay?
Yes. And not the people that are there. The people that are there is Sam. They're going to be fine, we think. The problem is Porscha.
Porscha.
Porscha and her family, per my blessing and instruction, were supposed to be occupying Midway as soon as the 1st of next month. I guaranteed her that she could stay there for a while because I was going to keep the place unless a miracle happened, which happened. But I didn't foresee a scenario where Jehovah was just going to drop someone out of the thin air who was going to give us exactly what we needed to unload the property, and it wasn't going to cost me anything. Mm-hmm. How am I to know that? But that's what happened. So of course that deal has to be accepted. We've already signed it. It's done.
Right.
But that now means I have to tell Porscha that on the 1st, the place I promised you, you can only be there for a couple of weeks because you're going to have to get out because we have to sell it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is the problem for me, and this is why I'm nervous. I need you to help me help her just for a little while. Just look. See now you're looking crazy.
I'm just taking it all in.
I know it's a lot. It's a lot. And listen. I know this is a big ask, but I want you to look at it from a ministry standpoint. I think everything happens for a reason. Now, Porscha doesn't believe in our God. She doesn't. She has a belief system where she believes that God is in her and she is God, but she doesn't believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Jehovah God, the way we do. So one of the things I've been wanting to do is, spend time with her so that I could minister her and hopefully bring her over to our side. But you know me, I'm busy, and unless you're in my face, I really don't have time and energy to, invest in you like that. So I'm looking at this on one hand as an opportunity to fellowship and minister to her because, I'm in the family acquiring business, and as much as I love you, you only brought me 2 sons. You only have 2 boys, Sonny. And don't get me wrong, I love the girls, but in ancient times, women who were able to produce men children, they're at a premium. Porscha has 6 sons. Well, she has 7 kids, but 6 of them are boys.
They are.
Right. So if I'm able to bring Porscha's family into the fold, I'll be that much closer to the 312 men that Abraham had in his house. Then I'll have 8 men, so then I only have to get another 304. Now, 304 is going to take a while, but at least I'll be up to 8 temporarily. Okay? See? Now, don't fret. I have a plan, okay? If you approve it, and again, this is only temporary, okay? The first phase of my plan is to send them off to Midway, okay? Then I would let them stay. I would make a room out of my office downstairs, and then like rearrange my room temporarily, and then the Porscha and the boys could stay there, and then I have another plan for her mom and her brother. They wouldn't be there, but for a little while we would have housemates. Now I see your eyes twitching and shifting, as I knew they would. I don't know. Now, okay. What are your thoughts? What are your concerns? I know that's a lot, but just tell me, because I can't do it without you.
You could do all things. God took one man.
Yeah, but I can't. Remember, like I said, I just said in the last episode, and this is true. You're my primary family member, and we're in the business of family together. So you're my business partner. So every relationship that I have ultimately affects you. It's just, especially relationships that exist in our domain.
Well, like I told you on yesterday, I'm not in the business of trying to get people to see God when their mind is already made up. And like I said, the people that I'm trying to go after is the people that, you know what?
Me too.
You know, I done tried everything and it has not worked. What must I do to be saved? Or what must I do to get whatever you have? You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So that's number one. And number two is I am really trying hard to get me together. Like mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally and spiritually, you know, and you don't want me cussing. You don't want me cussing. You don't want me saying things. And then I can just imagine how much frustration she's going to be under with mom, brother, kids. That's a lot. And to be in a house cooped up, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pray about it. You know what I'm saying? Because guess one thing I know about God, his plan is going to prevail regardless. We can make the plan, but he's going to establish it. And I don't want to make nobody feel uncomfortable. I'm not there yet. And I understand that I'm in a leader position, and but I still have some growing and some maturing to do within my own walk.
I agree.
And I don't want to make nobody else feel uncomfortable, and I don't want to feel uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
Yeah, that just seems like a lot. And we're going to pray about it. We're going to pray that God opens up a window, if not a door. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what we're going to pray. And I pray that Miss Porscha has already been looking. I pray that she
hasn't. She hasn't because of me.
Right, but I just some one thing about God will give you an unction in your spirit, man, to keep looking, keep doing this, keep doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, things are up in the air. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like only a fool would just say, you know what, I'm good over here. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
and I'll be cool. I'm just saying, like, a real individual would be like, just in case something happens, they skip you. As a grown adult, because this is just how I think. If this don't work, I got to have a plan B.
Well, you know? the thing is, they didn't need a plan B because she had looked for a place. She had found a place. Midway was the place. So this caught us all off guard.
Yeah.
And by surprise. So
very much so.
It's not that she didn't prepare. She did prepare. We were all prepared. We've been preparing for a month, and we've been preparing for almost 2 months, and then 2 weeks before the big day, this happens. So now, as you're praying, and as you're thinking about it, I want to reemphasize something. If we do this, yeah, I know, I know it would be a lot. That's why I was like, we have to get in here and have a conversation today. This was definitely going to be podcast.
You know, the Lord won't put too much on me that I can bear.
I know, but I knew this was going to be a doozy. But, yeah, because as soon as I found out, it was like, oh my God, I got to have 2 conversations.
Yeah,
I got to have a conversation with Sonny first, and I need to do that as soon as possible, and then I need to have a conversation with Porscha. But the conversation with Sonny is the most important conversation.
You know, I'm gonna just say this. I don't know how long is short. You know what I'm saying? I start school in October. my goal is to be so focused, you know what I'm saying? I've been studying it in the meantime. I really want to get my high school diploma, and I really want to get the hell on. Whatever that looks like, that's what I want to do. And God is opening up doors and avenues for me to do that. I just got to have the right discernment to know which door to walk through in that time. And that's really about it. Another thing is, you know, if anybody do move with me or just move in with anybody, I think a person should have a 3-month grace period. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you are living with other people.
Now, what's the grace? Explain the grace period.
Like a 90-day grace period. You know what I'm saying? You get in.
Oh no, it shouldn't take. No, I don't even see it taking that long. Don't look like that. Like you don't believe me. I know you think when I say temporary is not temporary.
Simply mean life, death row records.
No. It's not even going to take that long because by October she should be in a position to start getting a place. She just needs time to do that. Now, who knows? She's going to have access to Midway through for weeks in September, okay? But if she hasn't resolved her issue by September, I would like to have a backup plan in place where she could go, again, temporarily. Because I don't want the peace of our house disturbed either. I like what we have, even though every time I come home, there are dishes in the sink, and the kids keep leaving the kitchen messed up, and you guys leave lights on and fans all over.
You see what I'm saying? Like, tell the audience. Like, I'm already at work by myself.
You're a handful. Yeah, so no, believe me, this isn't something. Yeah, this isn't something that I'm motivated to do. But I know that God has a plan, and for the time she is in my domain, it's an opportunity for me to minister to her. But I know this is a big ask, and I want you to think about it. And like I said, this isn't something that it would even happen tomorrow or next week or anything like that. And like I said, by September, who knows, we may have another plan.
So what's going on with the other house?
Which other house?
Off Bowden, Paddington.
What do you mean what's going on with Paddington?
I thought people was moving out of Paddington.
Eventually they will. That's not happening anytime soon.
Nothing like next year maybe.
Yeah, but Vicky is getting Paddington.
Oh yeah, you did say that.
Yeah, everything's gone.
God bless Vicky.
Yeah, she's getting Paddington. So.
Ooh, that'd be nice. Miss Vicky can just scoot over.
Oh no, she's gonna have a roommate. It's more than likely to be my mom.
Ooh.
Yeah, it'd be my mom and Vicky. So, because my mom's eventually gonna have to leave my brother's house. And they were gonna go to Memories, but Memories, Bethel will be gone. Midway will be gone, so it'll just be my portfolio in Bolingbrook. And this is all good. It's just
it is. It is.
This is all a good thing.
Yeah.
But
getting out of debt is always good.
Yeah. Listen. Listen. My car will be fixed next month. Next month I'll have my car back.
Look at you.
So this changes everything. But okay then. So.
All right, that was a lot.
I knew that was a lot.
I liked the Lexi story better.
I know you did. I know you would. But this is why I said, oh my God, it's a blessing that she's not with us. And then there's another angle to this too. What's going to happen, I know, is that at some point while Porscha is taking up that space in my life, Lexus is going to try to reappear. But that opportunity won't be there until after whatever happens with Porscha happens. And this is why you don't play musical chairs with God's blessings. When God blesses you with an opportunity, you take that opportunity. You don't turn your nose up at God's blessings, because that opportunity, 48 hours later, that opportunity might not be there again. And you don't know when the opportunity is coming back. And that opportunity may never come back. But you don't know when even a similar opportunity is going to make itself available to you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when God blesses you with an opportunity, it is so important to really use discernment and take advantage of it. But I anticipate that once whatever happens.
And now I'm going to go to a month-to-month lease. Just in case it goes beyond the 90 days and I just cannot take it.
No. Listen, that's fine. That's fine, sweetie. But like I say, it won't even. And listen, it may not even get. Listen, it may not even get to that. But I wanted to have the conversation because you are my partner, and put the idea out there to see how you felt. But that's the.
Woohoo! We saving souls.
We are. Now,
Jesus.
I want you to understand something about this, though. From a business aspect and from a kingdom aspect. Do you know what God does when you use your time, your energy, and your resources for His purposes? You know what He does?
He blesses you.
He blesses and He provides. He provides the capacity. He gives you the capacity in all things to do His work.
Right.
So even though sometimes when things are put in front of us that seem like they may be overwhelming, they're overwhelming in our power, but they're not overwhelming in His power. And He always has a plan. We just have to be willing, like you said, I like what you said, we have to be open and willing to submit to whatever His plan is. Now, with everything that I'm sitting here worried about, He may already have a resolution that I'm not aware of. I'm going to be open to do the godly and Christ-like thing that I know I'm called to do, that I can think of now. But I don't know what God's going to have tomorrow. Because I didn't know Friday night. When I went to bed Friday night, I did not know a problem that I've been struggling with for over a year now. I didn't know He was going to say, not a problem anymore. I'm going to eliminate that problem. So,
Amen.
I know He has an answer for this, but I can't think of. I have to respond, and I can't think of an answer on my own power today. The only answer that I can think of is to extend
A helping hand.
because that's the business I'm in, and I know that. If I continue to use my time, talent, energy, and resources in my houses to help people, God will give me more houses. Because He'll keep, as He sends people, He'll say, well, Napoleon, you don't have the capacity to do all that I have called you to do. So I need to increase your capacity to do it. I need to match your resources with the love that I've given you to help people. And that's where the blessings comes from. Now, if you don't have a heart to help people and you're not committed to doing that, then there's no reason for God to expand your territory and increase your capacity. Because that means that as He expands your territory and increases your capacity, the same heart you had when you had less, you're going to have that same selfish heart when you have more. Because you really don't genuinely have a heart to help people. So I think one of the reasons my needs are always met and the reason I've been so blessed with the capacity to help people is because of what I do with the resources when I get them. Now, at the same time, I also know and believe that God helps people in different ways, and He doesn't want to help everybody in the way that I think they should be helped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes He has a different plan. But I just want to make sure that I was open to it, and more importantly, my partner was open to it. And this is, just so you know, this is kind of a newer experience for me because I haven't had to do this in a long time. The last time I had a conversation like this was with Kingmaker and about Catherine, when I was bringing her into Lindsay, but it was a totally different situation. It was just Catherine. It was just Anthony. So that was easy. You know what I mean? This is a big act. Even Lexus is easy because it's just Lexus. You know what I mean? This is a bigger ask if it comes to this. Okay?
So I'm just want to get the head count. Miss Porscha her babies, mom, and brother.
No, I have another plan for the mom and the brother.
Okay.
Miss Porscha and the babies.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it. And we could do it if we had to do it for a little while, and we can make it work. It'd be uncomfortable for me too, but if it comes to that, look at you. You're about to throw it. Okay.
No, no, not at all.
You want to get you a bowl or a cup?
That is a blessing, and maybe I'm not. Maybe it's a financial blessing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Her coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm. Only thing that makes sense is change, and and this is a change type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do it come with money signs? That's just me. That's just I believe in 10%.
Oh no, yeah, no. There's gonna be listen.
I believe in 10%.
No, there's gonna be some contribution. Make no mistake about that. But yeah, there's gonna be some contribution. You ain't gonna worry about that. But for the little time they're there, if they're there, and again, this won't be a long time if it does take place.
Okay, so have you thought about what do we do when we have ones that don't want to hear about the word of God? How do we do that? Because the Bible say, how can you walk unless you be in agreement?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because this is what makes this a good practice form. Normally, if it was someone who doesn't share our faith, we wouldn't even be having a conversation about them. Okay, they wouldn't even be a candidate. The thing is, she's been a part of my secular family for a long time.
Right.
I love her, and I've always tried to be there to support her. But one of the primary conversations we're going to have with her is, hey, this time that you're with us is an opportunity for us to introduce you to our belief system and try to understand why you believe what you believe. But for you to really benefit from any familial relationship, you have to be on the same page spiritually with the people you're in relationship with. And that's why this could only be temporary. You know what I'm saying? It could, even if we wanted it to be something permanent,
right?
It could never be permanent because we don't have the same belief system. You know what I mean? So it'd be no different than my mother. If my mother was staying with me for a little while, Mom, you couldn't stay here permanently. You can stay over there at Paddington, but you can stay with me permanently. I found another place for you because you don't have our belief system, which means you won't be working as a team. So the conversation we have with people who don't believe as we believe, I mean, we can take that time that they're around us to introduce them to our beliefs. But I'm like you. I would never try to, I would never expend too much energy trying to bring someone into our world or in our organization who doesn't love our God, worship our God, honor our God, and value our God.
So how would you make time to do all of this, with your hands being
she's
full?
already said she wants to be on the pod. She's going to come on the pod, and then I get to have those conversations with her. Now, this is one thing I'm looking forward to, though. I've never done that before. Like, I've never really had a relationship with anybody in my life because I grew up in church. So everybody I've been around has always been a believer. You know what I mean? Well, no, I take that back. There's one person that I consider myself fairly close to, my boss and business partner when I worked at Motto, when I was doing mortgages. He is not a believer, but we didn't have a personal relationship where we ever really got into those kind of conversations. Right. But I've never been around or been in a relationship with anybody that I cared about who didn't at least believe in God and know that He's a major factor in their life. So this is the first time I've been around somebody where I'm going to have an opportunity to have those type of discipleship conversations. Now, the Bible says make disciples of men, so this will be an opportunity to practice that and see how that goes. But I truly believe that even though this is only going to be for a little while, I truly believe that God may be doing this to give her an opportunity to know him. Because remember, it's not just her who's at stake. She has lives under her that will either adopt her belief system immediately or not be introduced to Jehovah until they're much older. You know what I mean? Unless there are other family members in their household who, worship as we do.
Right.
So I am looking forward to that. And like I said, she's already said she's more than happy to come in and have those discussions. And what I love about her, she's not bashful about what she thinks and believes. She says no uncertain terms. Can I ever get her to believe in the Bible? She thinks it's man-made. I believe that, I don't want to misquote her, but I think she thinks it's man-made. Mm-hmm. And I really don't even understand her views on God. Like when people say, I'm God, I've never understood that.
That really kills me when people say that. Yeah, especially with the situations and certain circumstances
that they find themselves in.
I just be like,
yeah, right. That's so. See, but that's my thing.
But like Jesus said on the cross, forgive them for what they do not know. That's kind of like in a way a form of blasphemy. You know what I'm saying? Because we're God, we're little G in the Bible. But if you're saying that you're God,
well,
like
maybe,
you're him,
yeah, but see,
like you know what I'm saying.
But that's why I really
figure out what G she is first.
Yeah. That's why I really want to get her in here in front of a camera and behind a microphone, because I really want to understand what her concept of God is, what her belief system is. Because before I can even try to explain our belief system and why we believe as we believe, I want to understand how you think and how you believe that. Because like you said, people who think that they're God, then my next question is, well, where does your power, you know what I'm saying? Where's the evidence that you can just change things?
Well, I love this for her too, because as you begin to, because I just, outside of the podcast, what is it that we can do, you know what I'm saying, under one roof, that we can exercise this thing every day? Because what you fixing up the podcast and her busy schedule and the kids.
Oh, she don't have a busy schedule.
Well, I'm just saying, just being under one roof is always, when you don't have nothing to do, it always seems like you got something to do all the time. So just saying, leaving from here, what else are we going to do to, really show her that God is real, God is who he say he is? And
well, I think the love the love I've shown her, and the love that we would be about to show, that's the first fruit. You know what I mean? That the love that we have does not come from us. It comes from Jehovah. So to me, that's always the first evidence of the God that we serve. Beyond that, I don't know. I don't know if there's a way we can show her. I mean, and I don't know if the time that she's going to spend with her. As a matter of fact, I would almost say I'm certain of it. The time that she's going to spend with her, because it's going to be short, because I need my space back. It's going to be short. Yeah. But I don't know if the time that she's going to spend with us is going to be, and she's going to want it short because she's going to want her own space. But in any case, I don't know if the time that she's going to spend with us is going to be transformative as much as it's going to be seed planting. I think this is going to give us an opportunity to plant seeds, and then she'll take those seeds, and God will water them, and then later on they'll grow. But I think that if she's not ever around us at all, I don't know if that conversation would ever be had. It certainly wouldn't be had by me, because I've been saying for a long time now I want to get together with her, right, and have these conversations. And me. My schedule, that doesn't happen.
And that's what I'm saying. Maybe her schedule is probably freed up, but your schedule,
but my schedule, but now my schedule won't have to be free because you'll be in my face. If you're in my face, then I have time to have conversations.
Napoleon, I'm in your face and you ain't got time.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have time. That's why we have a podcast.
Well, I can't always be in this chair.
Yes, you can. You look good in the chair. You can be in the chair all the time. And listen, you and I can get together as much as we want. And she and I, for the time she's in our domain, will be able to get together with me. But this is where I do the work of the ministry. At home, I can't be bothered. I'm too busy. I'm either working, I'm tired, I want to go to bed. This is the church. This is my cathedral. You know what I mean? This is where I do my preaching, my teaching, my discussing, and my ministry. After I leave here, it's just like Smokey. When Smokey leaves, Victory, he don't want to talk to you at home. You can call Smokey at home and be like, Smokey, I want to talk. No, Smokey talking to you there. Now, I do one better. I do one-on-one consultations. So I'll talk to you all day, every day here at the church. But I don't know, outside of the church. And I'll show you love in my life if you're in my life outside of the church. But when the doors of the church close, I'm going to sleep.
I'm with you when you're right.
And this is your church too. You need to do the same thing. This is your platform as well. This is our ministry. If I'm not around and there's somebody that you want to preach to or minister to or get an understanding of, drag them into your sanctuary. Don't let them tie up your personal lifetime, because we're in the business of family, but we're in the business of ministry too. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you have to, if you're going to do this as a living, you have to make it structured, or you won't have a life. You'll be on the phone talking to people all the time. You'll be all over the place. So what I do is, for people who are serious about being fed or being ministered to, or who are serious about trying to understand where I'm coming from, if they're serious, they will set aside real time where we can have a real conversation and do real ministry. If they're not willing to do that, then as far as I'm concerned, they're not serious about having that kind of relationship with me. You see, there are no phones ringing. The door's closed. We don't have any interruptions. It's just me, you, God's word, the camera, and the microphone. So that's my take on how we will do that. And I had an ulterior motive for having this conversation in studio. This was my motive. I knew after we had this conversation, my plan was to pursue Porscha. I knew I was going to try to minister to her, understand her faith, and I knew all that was going to happen.
So she's a consort too?
I hope so. She'll become one at some point. That's how I expand my household. Remember, she has 6 sons. Do you know what I could do with 6 sons? Jacob had 12. Was it 12 or 10? Yeah, because you got to count 2 of Joseph's sons. But sons have a particular value because of the leadership role that men play in the kingdom. So yeah, if we absorb Porscha's family into our household, and we're able to influence her, and then she grows spiritually, then she's able to influence her sons, how many seeds could they sow if each one of those sons grow up in the way of the Lord?
So how do we influence them, or how do you influence
the mom?
them?
You got it. That's what I'm saying. The reason I love working with single moms is because once you win over the mother in a household, the children fall like dominoes. You have influence over all of them. And I know that from my experience with Johnny May, my grandmother. I told you about Johnny May, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Once the Lord saved Johnny May and redeemed her from alcoholism, once he fought that devil off and she got on the straight and narrow, it was her faith and belief system that all of us inherited. Now, her faith was so strong that she didn't just influence my mom. She influenced my mom. She influenced Uncle Speedy, my mom's brother. She influenced me and LaTanya. She influenced my first cousin, Nene. Real name Renee, we called her Nene. Nene had 3 daughters, Tamika, Tasha, and Isha. They grew up with the faith because grandma influenced Nene. So she brought us all to the house of the Lord because she was that struggling single mom that was influenced by another member of my Granddaddy Rogers. So Granddaddy Rogers planted the seed in Johnny May. Johnny May got saved, and Johnny May drug the rest of her family to the house of the Lord. She was the matriarch in our family. So the influence of women in a family is powerful. If you cannot influence the female head of the household, especially when she's single, if you cannot win her over, it's almost impossible to win over the children because she's going to be the greatest influence in the children's life, and you're an example of that. Where were your children at today?
Church.
They were in church. Listen, if they don't go to school, they go into church. Who else went to church with them that are not your children, that didn't come out of you?
My cousins.
How many? So you took 6 kids to church today?
Yeah.
Yeah, now, your cousins that are not your children, are these your first cousins?
Yeah.
Okay. Their parents, how often do their parents drag them to church?
Not often at all.
Not often at all. So look at who you are influencing. You're not only exerting your influence over your children, you're like Johnny May. Everybody that comes into contact with you, if they don't know nothing else, they're going to know God. You're going to make sure they know God. But that's because God got you. That's why I'm in the single mom ministry. Because I figured out a long time ago from my personal experience, if you want to raise a generation of kings and priests, you get a hold of the mothers. The dads are great, but if the dad go, who usually has the children? Mm-hmm. The mom's still going to have the children. And the church is made up of who? A bunch of women for that reason. So I have a plan in place. If I can get her, if I can win her over, then she can spearhead the grooming and the raising of her children. And it's nothing like a woman who is not saved who has an epiphany. Because again, I saw it with Johnny May. Once God really gets a hold of you, and he becomes he becomes a force and a presence in your life, your desire to share him with other people is overwhelming. You love him so much, you're so grateful. He's had such an impact on you that you can't help but want to serve him. And you know, people who really have a true relationship with God, who really know him, and he's busy, and they recognize that he's busy and working in his life, those people are going to have a desire to serve him as well. Because there's no way you can know about the goodness of God and not want to share it with other people. So she has so many people under her influence. And that doesn't even count her nephew and her brother. And she has such a strong personality. So she, I believe, if brought into the fold, could be a tremendous force in the kingdom. Her and all of her children. Because all of those children will grow up to bear seed. You know what I mean? There's a scripture in the Bible about that. Jesus talks about the seed that is spread out. And he doesn't talk about the harvest just from the seed that he put out. He talks about the harvest from the seeds that came from the seed that return 100-fold. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It just keeps going and going and going. And so that's my vision, not just for her, for all the people we work with, but obviously she would be a big fish. She'd be a much bigger fish than Lexus. Lexus only got one kid, and it's a girl. So yeah, if I could get Porscha on the right path, even if she's only here for a couple of months, and whatever we put in her, it sticks, and then God gives her a revelation later, then we've done our job. So that's the positive. So I'm really trying to sell you on this in case it has to happen.
Yup. You know, I knew the word at church was that good. I knew something had to be in the making once I got home.
What's the word at church today?
We was in Mark 10, I believe the 46th chapter. Mm-hmm. It was about what's his name picking up his coat, his cloak, and leaving what's behind him. You know what I'm saying? And getting up and being free. And he was talking about how David, you know, David was kind of scared to go to battle because he didn't have all those people with him. And he was just saying that this was the same David that knocked out Goliath as a young boy. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
you cannot you can't forget who God has called you to be, no matter how high you get in life. You know what I'm saying? You got to remember that. You know, every time God is doing something, he's taking something off of you. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be obedient and and never forget who God has called you to be. So it was a really, really good word.
Was Smokey in person today, or was it over the? Was he?
He was on.
He was on the monitor.
On the monitor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but he was there last Sunday. Sunday before.
Yeah, he can't be everywhere. So
yeah, so the word was most definitely. Like I said, I really want to. I don't know, what God is doing, but I know that dealing with people has. My grandmother and my grandfather did that. When I tell you that my grandfather and my mother, they took care of the widows. So what you're doing is not foreign to me at all.
Oh,
you know
no,
what I'm saying?
That's why you're a
but
great
I've
partner.
also seen my mom trying to help people that once again I want what you have, but I don't want all that God stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to do all that stuff.
And that most definitely became a conflict because when you're trying to love on people with the love of God and people feel like, you know what, you ain't this, you ain't that, or like, you know what I'm saying, just basically trying to take your kindness for weakness because you love God and you're not supposed to say certain things, you're not. But some worldly people bring the world right back out.
No. I agree. And that's why again, this isn't going to be a permanent. Like I said, this was just a last minute emergency situation. But after this emergency situation, I won't have any more emergencies. I've already and that no really, and that may be what God. I really do believe God is pruning my secular family members. You know what I mean? Lexus was a special case, but I've dealt with that, so I don't have to worry. Like whatever happens with her, my hands are clean because I've done everything that I need to do. So I feel confident unless she makes some drastic changes, I can close that door and be fine.
Right, like being a Jehovah's Witness.
Exactly. What I don't. See. Okay, there you go taking shots. Yeah, they go taking shots. We're gonna. That's one reason I wanted her in here, because I wanted to talk to her about her experience with witnesses.
Witnessing Jehovah.
Yeah, and I also wanted to do a program with her called the Jehovah's Witness Experience. Because I want someone that I'm close to actually go through the process and then tell me what it's like. I could never, the witnesses would never allow me to join the Kingdom Hall because of my some of my views. But the witnesses get a bad rap. Like, how much do you know about the Jehovah's Witnesses?
I just know my grandmother used to have this saying, she a Jehovah, when they used to come to the door. Oh, I'm a Jehovah's Witness. I witness Jehovah. I'm Baptist because I've been baptized by the blood of Jesus. She had I'm Pentecostal because I was there on Pentecost. Like, so she had but you know what I heard, like I told her the other day in the car, you always shut the door on them. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't able to learn much, but what I did understand was they didn't have no windows at the Kingdom Hall.
Yeah, see,
it's darkness up in there.
See, now listen. That's why I want to do a show called the Jehovah's Witness Experience. Most Christians who are not familiar with the Watchtower organization and the Kingdom Hall have so many negative misconceptions about them that are not true. Now, granted, they have made some predictions that are problematic and that did not come true. Many years ago, members or the founders of the organization, and like any man-made organization, they are not perfect. But as an organization, from my perspective, in my opinion, they are one of the finest religious organizations on earth. They do an excellent job in terms of their commitment to Bible study and making sure that their membership understands Scripture. They do a great job of making sure that their membership are effective communicators. and then the way they compose and comport and their behavior when you're an active member of the brethren. So there's so many positive takeaways that I got from them as a child, from my little exposure. And I had a lot of exposure. My biological father, who I didn't have a relationship with, his sister, they were Jehovah's Witnesses. I only saw them a couple of times, but I got to go to the hall with them. And then my god brother, Jose, I got a lot of exposure to the witnesses with him because he and his family were devout witnesses, and I got to attend the hall with them. And then my wife, Muffin, she and her family were devout witnesses. Now, during the time we were married, she was inactive and she didn't attend, but her family attended. And I got to tell you, all of the witnesses that I have been around are amazing people. And the Bible says, you know a tree by its fruit. The fruit they produce is always, as far as I've known, my encounters, has been really positive fruit. So I'm confused by the people who have been a part of the organization. Now, I can understand people who are outside the organization being ignorant as far as what the organization is all about, because the witnesses, they don't really try to explain themselves. They just let you think whatever you're going to think. But my fascination is with people who have been in the organization and then leave and have all of these complaints. Like they were controlling them and made them do a bunch of things. I don't get that because like I said, I've been married into a Jehovah's Witness family. I've never seen any of that stuff. They never made them do anything. No one's holding anyone hostage. I mean, for the most part, once you get past any theological differences you might have with them, they're an amazing organization. So I can't wait to. I do have a conversation with Lexus.
Let me get understanding. So, like, let's just say I'm like, I don't want to be Christian. I want to be a Jehovah's Witness.
Jehovah's Witnesses are Christians,
right? But I'm just saying I want to be like a Jehovah's Witness, though. I don't want to just be, non-denominational. Mm-hmm. I just want to be Jehovah's Witness.
Let's say if you want to be Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So what is my do's and don'ts? Like, like once I join, like, do I just like... I don't know. Okay, from what I know, are they gonna take the blunt out my hand? Like,
no. This is what they do. Okay, the first step is you become what's called an interested person. So you don't have to join the organization, but you can study with them. And while you're studying with them, you learn. They teach you about their theological views. They go over their interpretations of the Bible, and then you can take your interpretation and combat what they are saying, and then it's an educational process. So it's not combative. They're telling you this is what we believe, this is why we believe it, and then you have an opportunity to explain your beliefs. And even if you don't agree with them, you're going to learn so much about the Bible. I learned so much. This is why I love them so much. I learned so much about the Bible when I started having relationships with Jehovah's Witnesses, because things that I didn't agree with them on forced me as a youth to have to read my Bible to try to explain myself. And in doing so, I learned a whole bunch. So I love Jehovah's Witnesses coming to my door, because even if you don't agree with them, they're going to talk to you about God's word for hours, and they love doing it. So that's the first thing that would happen. Now, as an interested person, though, you're not held to the same standards as a baptized witness. So once you become a member of the congregation, as they call it, once you become a member of the congregation, then there are certain standards and behaviors that are unacceptable. And if you persist, now, first they'll pull you to the side and say, hey, Sister Sonny, what you're doing is not the behavior you should be participating in. They're going to show you the scripture, and they explain you why you shouldn't be doing it, okay? If you persist in doing that, then they're going to keep trying to work with you. And if you continue to persist, then they will disfellowship you, okay? And there are levels before you get disfellowship. But the reason they do that, it's a very good reason they do that, and I would do this in my organization when it gets so large. If the people in God's organization, his family, behave exactly like the secular world, and there's no distinction between the two, the people in God's house can't bear effective witness to the world. There should be a behavioral distinction between God's people and worldly people. And there's certain behaviors that God's people shouldn't participate in. Now, before we even go there, let's get to smoking, okay? Mm-hmm. Now that smoking is legal, just like alcohol is legal, I don't know, per se, because I haven't talked to them recently, I don't know what their perspective would be of using a legal substance like marijuana. So I don't know what their substance would be. I know what their position is on alcohol.
I feel like Moses talked to a burning bush.
Yeah, you can listen.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You can drink alcohol, but anything you do as far as that should be in moderation. I don't know if that has been translated to the use of cannabis. However, I do know this. They always expect you to comport yourself in a way that would allow you to be an effective witness of Jehovah to other people. So anything that you're doing, this is the scripture I can use. Anything that you're doing that's going to cause somebody else to stumble or stop me from being effective in my ministry, I probably shouldn't participate in that behavior. That's how they are. So the things that they expect out of their members are not, for the most part, most of them are not unrealistic. Now, one of the things I had issue with when I was young, and I still kind of have issue with this, their policy on blood transfusions. Okay? Are you familiar with that?
No.
Okay. They don't believe in blood transfusions. So if you got sick and you went to the hospital, now this is a gripe a lot of people have with them. If you got sick and you went to the hospital, and if it was a life or death situation, they would say you should not get a blood transfusion because you're getting someone else's blood, even though it's to save your life, and they believe in the sacredness of blood. Blood is life, and they believe it's a sin to take a blood transfusion.
Is that biblical?
From their standpoint, it's biblical. So is
there like a scripture they come off like?
Yeah, I forgot the scripture that they use to support that, but it's.
Do they read like the King James Bible too?
No, they read the New World Translation. Okay, it's a Bible that I don't know if they translated it, but it's called the New World Translation, and for the most part, it's similar to other translations. There's some things in there. I'm not an expert on it. And I haven't read one in a long time, but there's some things in there that may differ from some Bibles that we read, but for the most part, it's God's word.
I feel like even with the Muslims, like Muslims would shut their store down and pray and stop what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And I like I said, I don't know too much. I know my auntie has an uncle, and he's been with this lady named Teresa for years, but maybe like 15, 25 years.
Is she a witness?
And she's a witness. We see her all the time at Golden Corral. Yeah. And, you know what I'm saying? But when you're looking at her, well, he grew up Christian, you know.
Right, he's a regular Protestant Christian.
Yeah, so, but when you see her, she wear colorful hair, red, green, orange, purple.
Yeah, no, you know
what I'm saying?
You can do,
just knowing her, I would just mind blow that the last time we seen her, like a month ago at Golden Corral, she's seen us and we sat down together. And I'm like, okay, what your pastor talk about? And she's like, I'm a Jehovah's Witness. I'm like, no, I never knew that.
Yeah, and see, that's why as soon as I find a Jehovah's Witness who'll do it with me, or an ex-Jehovah's Witness, that's why I want to do a show called The Jehovah's Witness Experience, because there's so many people who are ignorant about what really takes place at the Kingdom Hall, and they get a bad rap.
So what do they do? Do they get on their knees and pray, or like how do?
Oh, that's right. You've never been in the hall. No. Oh, first of all, now
they got food.
No food. Now listen, this is what I love about the hall. See, now you got me talking about Jehovah's Witness talk. When I first went to the hall, I remember going in. Everybody's dressed appropriately. No drums, no choir. Everybody had their books, and everybody had the same study materials. And when I first got there, I was like, "This is boring. How does anybody stand it?" Because they don't do all the theatrics and all the stuff that we would do.
Praise and worship and stuff.
Yeah. Now they do praise and worship. They have a song list in their little books. The songs by charismatic Christian standards would be boring. You'd be bored to death. So they read these little songs, and everybody reads the song. They have song time, and then they get into the word. But it's not a show. It's not entertaining like we have in a regular church. But after visiting a few times, the academic in me began to appreciate how things are conducted at the Kingdom Hall. And now that I'm older, the way they worship is actually, in many respects, my preference. And I'll tell you why. They come in, and it's interactive. So you'll have an elder that is going to do the talk, but everybody in the audience is expected to have studied that lesson prior to coming to the meeting. So at any moment, they can call on you to stand up and talk about what you thought about the talk or the lesson that you're supposed to be studying. That means that everybody has to read. Also, it's taught almost like a classroom experience where you're there to really learn, and because they don't have all the other things going on, there are no distractions. So you're going to come out of there, unless your mind is somewhere else, you're going to come out of there learning to pay attention to what's being said. And children who are present, they're in the same room. They're not in the kids' room, nursery. Everybody's in the same room. Everybody's accustomed to paying attention and actually learning the lesson. So for people who have grown up in a regular church, it's a shock because when you go in there, you're like, what's going on? This is so boring. Everybody's paying attention. Everybody's focused. So that's why I guess to some people it looks cultish. But it's really a environment where the learning and everybody's responsibility to learn is emphasized. So that's what goes on inside the Kingdom Hall.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay inside my hall.
Listen, it's nothing wrong with that, but there's a lot of positive takeaways from that organization that I've learned through the years. That as my organization grows, like I say, their theology, I don't agree with every aspect, but in terms of the things that you can incorporate to make an organization run efficiently, they have that down pat. I'll give an example. There are millions of them all over the world. You know how hard it is to get millions of people to do the same thing the same way all over at the same time? Well, not at the exact same time, but for an organization to run in such an orderly fashion, that's very difficult to do. Most churches can't do that. They have been around for so many years. Remember, they started as a small organization, just like most churches do. But it grew into a massive international organization. That's because of their effectiveness with the business of ministry. And to be frank, if you're going to build a large family, there is no better model in terms of the how you would run it than they have. They're like McDonald's, okay? If I want to start a fast food hamburger and fry chain, I would study McDonald's. I wouldn't study, what's the place I went to go to today and they were closed? What's that hot dog place we like that gives you all the fries?
Oh, Doggy Diner.
Yeah, I wouldn't study Doggy Diner Doggy Diner is not internationally known. I would study McDonald's because McDonald's has mastered growing a small hamburger and fry business into the most successful chain in the world. The Jehovah's Witnesses have mastered taking a little Bible study, because that's what they started off. They started off with a little Bible study organization, and they have grown that organization into a massive international Bible organization. So again, people make fun of them. They call them names, but there's so much you can learn from them. And I think that people will be well served before they make judgments about them to really study that organization. And again, the people that they produce and their behaviors says a lot. This is my problem with what we produce in church. And this is the problem that many people have with church. In regular church, you're allowed to do anything.
Why you say that?
Because we are. There is no other faith system that allows that. Muslims, you cannot do anything. Muslims, if you're a Muslim, you can't touch a drug.
And I know a lot of Muslims
They're not supposed to. They're not supposed to. They can't. Yeah, that's a no-no. You're not supposed to do. So it's a whole bunch of stuff that.
But why you say Christianity? You could just do whatever you want to do.
Because you can.
Can you let me know what we can do?
Everything. We can fornicate. We can drug abuse. We can whore.
We can't do that.
Yes, we can do all of that.
That's not what the Bible says.
No, that's not what the Bible says. But our organization is not going to hold us accountable.
It is.
For it.
I feel like I grew up around a time, and
they're not going to disfellowship you.
Yeah,
they're gonna put you out the church.
Yes, it's a lot of, and that's the problem now. That is the problem now. We have mothers in the church. If you came in with a dress, even if I was to wear this back in the day, even now, even if I go into my home church in the city, they don't play that. They don't play that.
But your home church, if they don't play that, they're a small church. And let me tell you why. The larger churches, the larger body, you can do pretty much whatever you want to do. Because they're not concerned with your individual behavior. They're concerned with growing in size. So their priority is getting you in there so that you can hear the word of God. Mm-hmm. They're not going to press you too hard about things that you do in your personal life because the membership doesn't want that. The reason people like Christianity the way it is because the doors are open. It's much easier to get in. It's an easy belief system. Now, it's really not easy, but we've made it look easy because so many things are acceptable. A lot of other belief systems, and the reason, one of the reasons people don't like Jehovah's Witnesses is a lot of stuff you can't do.
And I understand that, and I get that, but we also got to be mindful that Jesus is married to the backslider. No, so you know what I'm saying. So I understand that. So it may be, it probably is a lot of other churches and a lot of other religions that are more stricter, but they're not saving people for real. Cause like I said, my auntie, she a Jehovah's Witness. I still see her cuss. I still, you know what I'm saying. She's still who she is. You know what I'm saying. Like I said, this is not even a blood auntie.
Yeah, but the difference is, no, I'm not saying the people in the organization don't do things. What I'm saying is the organization is not going to allow. When they find out that you're doing it, there are going to be consequences. They're gonna come down on you because they believe in protecting the organization as well. Otherwise, it would become regular church. And people outside the church, you have to understand, we who grow up in the church, our church culture is normal to us, okay? But the world outside the church laughs. They think the church is a joke. And the reason they think the church is a joke is because on a grand scale, you have people who are church people doing whatever they want to do, and then they get together in church, and it's okay. Outside of the church, the people are watching it. That's why they call us hypocrites. People think, by and large, the vast majority of Christians are hypocrites. They don't think we practice what we
And they thought the same thing about Jesus.
No, I know.
So that's my whole point.
Yeah.
I get it, but I ain't never seen anybody, even with the church as big as it is, talking about holiness, talking about righteousness and things of that nature, whether it's in the Kingdom Hall or just in a regular church building. At the end of the day, when God shows up and shows out, he said, eyes haven't seen, ears have not heard. So that's what be killing me. That's why there's a question being raised up about Jehovah Witnesses. And I got a cousin too, my older cousin, he got a baby mama, a wife. Hopefully she becomes that. But she's Mormon. So she reads the Mormon book one year,
right.
and then the next year she reads the regular Holy Bible and things of that. Right. And she was just, oh my God, we're different, we're strict, but you're still doing the same thing I'm doing.
No,
so just how strict are you?
Well, this individually they may not be strict, but organizationally. So don't confuse what I'm saying. Individuals are going to commit individual crimes and sins. Okay, but the whole point to being part of an organization. This is why you create an organization. This is why you build a family unit. I, as an individual, may do something that I'm not supposed to do, but I am counting on my family unit, which is my first and foremost organization, to call me on that behavior. They cannot allow me to participate in that behavior. So, for example, I'm a Christian. I'm a believer. My daughter, this is what used to happen in Christian homes. If you came home pregnant out of wedlock, many years ago, they were putting you out. I love you. You're my daughter. I hope things go well with my grandbaby. But you have brought shame on this household. We cannot tolerate that, because this was their position. If I let you stay in this house out of wedlock and have that baby, and my other daughter sees it, then if she goes out and do what you did, I'll have to let you stay in the house. I'll have to let her stay in the house too. And before you know it, I'll have a culture of children who think there are no consequences to fornicating and bringing home children out of wedlock. So what I have to do is put my foot down where you're concerned, and the consequence of that behavior, even though I love you, is I can't let you grow up in this house. Now, this is the biblical position. The biblical position was stoning, or you had to marry the woman. You either better come back with a husband, or we killing you, okay? What should happen at the very least, if you do that, you should be put out. Now, when you're put out, then the other young lady who's at the house would see her older sister struggle and have hard times, and hopefully that would discourage her. But if I let my older daughter come home with the baby and have the baby and live in the house with me, then, God forbid, she has another baby, I'm telling every child in my household that no matter what I say I believe, this behavior is acceptable. So, yes, individuals are going to make mistakes, but the responsibility of an organization is to have some form of enforcement to discourage that behavior. Otherwise, reckless behavior just becomes rampant. And then we have the society that we have now. So when I say the church does a poor job of that, they do. The church, by and large, they're not enforcing anything. Like, you can come to church with your boyfriend that you're shacking up with, and the pastor may say something about it, but you ain't going to be disfellowship. You ain't going to be kicked out the congregation. You can come back next week, and y'all could hang out and have chicken, and everybody can do that, and they're going to say, well, God's still working with you. No, some organizations, they're like, no, you can't do that. We're throwing you out. And in a Muslim country, there's certain things you cannot do because those things create a culture and you send mixed messages. So I'm not bashing the church. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy and some of the wide range problems with the way we worship. I've always believed we allow too many things. But you don't agree with that, do you? If I'll give an example, a perfect example. You've turned this into a really good conversation. Let's say your oldest daughter comes home at 16 with a baby. What do? You're a devout Christian. Now, you're in a pickle. This is why you're in a pickle. How old were you when you had your first kid?
17.
Your grandmother did not, your mom/grandma did not put you out, did she?
No.
No? Okay. How old were you when you had Ayana? I was
Monty 20. It was 20.
Okay. Were you still in the house?
Yeah.
Did she put you out?
No.
Okay, now, your hands are tied. This is why organizational behavior is important. Your hands are literally tied now. You cannot, if your oldest daughter comes home and she has a baby out of wedlock, I can't even imagine you fixing your lips to do anything because the standard has already been set. You weren't thrown out of the house.
Well, it's not that. It's my mother already had 3 daughters that had kids. She's already done the kicking out, and she understands that didn't do anything but make them single, struggling mothers, and that's why you have a business.
Right, but see, right, but no, that is true.
That's facts.
No, that's why I'm in this business. I agree.
Exactly.
However, that making them struggling mothers is the point. The point of having relationships and having children that you shouldn't be in and shouldn't be having, the struggling part is part of the consequence. The struggling is meant to discourage that behavior.
But what I'm saying is you can discourage in love.
Right, but love outside the house. Struggle.
That's in my eyes that's stupid.
I get it, but then there's no consequence. So
the consequence would have been, you have this baby,
and you raise it in my house,
and I'm gonna help you raise it, so you won't do this because now a child. This is just my opinion.
I get it.
This is why, because when you show them that what you did is bad and handle it in love, throwing them out so they can become struggling. Now that mom has to be, now she's in another toxic relationship.
Yeah,
so it creates bad things. So and I'm pretty sure over the generation, same way with homosexuality. So many people, I'm gay. So many people then took their lives because they did not handle it with love, because they was under what you call it, what's the word you was using? What do we call these things?
Well, I don't know what word I used. What does the word mean? What
congregation or
congregation?
Not congregation,
organization.
But organization.
Yeah.
So even with the weed, now today they locked up a lot of people for a petty little weed offense, and now they like, we done lost a lot of money because now that we got them in jail, we got them in handcuffs, they're spending life. We need something else to do, so they got smart about it. You know what? We're gonna make this. Because now that they not just seeing that people are going to jail, they obviously seeing cancer patients need this, people that have malnutrition, people that are sick, that can't eat. So it's like, okay, this can be more beneficial doing it this way instead of doing it the old way, because all we did was lock up people, and it was still people that was still needing weed for healing and other things of that nature. So
okay,
yeah.
Now that's an excellent argument, but there's another side to that. From the conservative biblical standpoint. God's position has always been much firmer. God's position was these behaviors cannot be allowed. This is why the consequences for those behaviors, in many cases, with death. You could not have children out of wedlock. And if you did, somebody had to marry that woman, or somebody was being stoned. Now, the reason he was so harsh on that was precisely what you just said. Once you have a culture that normalizes behaviors that are not acceptable, then that becomes the norm. So what that inadvertently does is it destroys families. The idea that it is okay to have sexual relations, and now I'm a product of this, just so we're clear. Most of us are. But the idea that that behavior is okay and that we allow it to be acceptable or normalized is what causes the breakdown in family. So even though it seems like when I don't throw the girl out, I'm acting in love, it's acting in love of who? If I love God, I love my children, but if I love God more, I'm throwing you out. Even though you're going to struggle, because unless you were raped, you were told not to do this. And because I love him more, and I love the kingdom and community that he wants to create, my response has to be, you get out. Now, and just to be clear, I've never had to make that decision. I've never had a daughter that had a child out of wedlock. I didn't have any. I haven't had any male children to bring a kid home out of wedlock. So it's easy for me, just so we're clear, to be fair, it's easy for me to talk about throwing my daughter out. Now, if I'm being honest, knowing me, would I have it in me to have a big house with a lot of rooms, and I'm in the ministry of helping struggling single mothers? Would I then throw my struggling single mother daughter out?
Yeah, you would.
I probably wouldn't. Even though I understand the ramifications of letting her stay and how the message that's going to send, I don't know if I would have the...
And do you think it was really a God thing back in the day when they were stoning people? Or do you think
absolutely.
that was Israel?
No. That was absolutely God.
God said stone
He
stone
said,
them?
yeah, kill him. And this is why. That was absolutely God.
God said that?
God said that. He gave Moses those instructions. That's what he said. Moses wrote them on the tablets. This is what we should do. And he was right for that, because what he knew then, you have to understand, God is all about family. And promiscuity, broken families destroy the family. Because what happens now is you have what you just said. You have a struggling single mother. That struggling single mother is now prone to enter another even worse relationship that's going to be toxic. Those children then, you know who they're going to be raised by?
Stepfathers.
Maybe not even stepfathers. They're going to be raised by men who are not of God. So now this woman is not raising godly seed, and she's struggling to raise the kids all by herself. This causes economic problems. Those economic problems then have a further negative effect on that woman and future children. It's just a domino effect. So the reason I know God said what he said, I understand it. He wanted to make the punishment so severe that it would discourage that behavior. Now, what we have done, being civilized, as we call it, we have deviated from what he laid down in the foundation. We've gone away from that because we're trying to be more civilized. Because in our mind, we think our ways are better. But no, God was absolutely right about how harsh those consequences should be. Now, we can't enforce that now because we basically do what we want to do.
I just don't see God telling you to stone something he put in a woman.
But no. He said stone the woman. The baby wasn't even a consequence. We don't even know about the baby. If you had sex outside of wedlock, unless you were raped, and that man did not... and you and that man did get married, you couldn't have sex, it be known, and you walk around Israel like everything was okay. Because that meant everybody could then do that and would be okay. Then that meant babies would be born outside of God's parameters. They would not be raised by godly men or women. And then you would have a nation of people who do not honor and worship God. That's what happens when you have children who are not raised in a godly household. That's why I'm in this business. I'm in the business of helping Christian single mothers because I don't want them I don't want them struggling, but more importantly, I don't want them raising children outside of a godly household. That's a disaster. Because if there's no godly influence over those children, they are not going to grow up most likely and be godly seed. And if they do, they won't do it until later when a bunch of damage has been done. So I want to get children early before they have the negative influences of men who are not godly, before they think certain behaviors that are not normal are normal. I want to get them and do to them what Johnny May did to me. Johnny May got me early. Johnny May got me early at the kitchen table when I was 6, 7 years old.
You got your work cut out for you.
Yeah. Now, yes, it is work, but that's what goes back to the mothers. If you get the mothers and you influence them, then maybe your daughters won't come home at 17 with a kid out of wedlock. That's what this is about. You're here. The reason you're in my life and the reason I love you and the reason I wanted you and your kids is because I want you to have the economic power, the social support power, and every other kind of power there is so that you could be the best mother that you can be, so you can enforce things. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't want you stressed out and working all night and you don't know what your kids are doing. I want you to be able to be a mother and have the energy to drag them to church on Sunday and then come home during the week and enforce those things. Because you being present may be the difference between her coming home at 16, 17 years old with a kid. See, if you're present, you can monitor who she's on the phone with. You can watch certain things. You can keep your arm around her. But if you're out struggling and working 2 jobs and there's no other parent present, you don't know what she's doing at 16, 17.
Right.
Yeah, that's a problem. So I'm with you. I don't want single mothers out there struggling. I don't want them to pay the high price of the choices that they made. But there has to be a balance. Somebody has to come in and say, hey, look, this is what happened, but this wasn't normal. And I'm going to close saying this. Your responsibility as a mom, having had a child at 17, and to your credit, let me give you credit where credit is due. You tried to clean it up. You had 4 kids, but then you did what he said do in the Old Testament. Nigga, you gonna marry me. How old were you when you guys got married?
It was in 2023.
So how old were you?
I was 27, going on 28.
Okay, now, it may have taken you 10 years, but you said, you know what? We're going to clean this up. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You got me pregnant. We did this 4 times. You've been dragging your feet.
Please don't remind me.
Yeah. But you did what you were supposed to do. You made the man an honest man. You guys married. So now those children, even though they may have been born out of wedlock, you tried your best to bring them into to clean it up. Now, it's not your fault that the guy you got with when you were 16, 17 years old never developed the love of God that you have and never nurtured the relationship with him that you have, or you guys would be in a totally different place, most likely. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But every mother isn't like you. Now, you do have some leverage. The story you can tell your children is this. Listen, this is what mommy did, and this was the consequence of it, but this wasn't God's ideal. This is the way it was supposed to be done. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's the goal right there.
I did this, but looking back, I should have done that. Yeah. So I'm going to hold you to a different standard. I don't want you to go through what I went through. So this is how I got in that situation, and I'm going to do everything in my power to help you avoid it, even if that means being hard on you sometimes. Yeah,
and I love that, and that's why it's so important now is to stay focused, because I know I tell you I break up with Jay every week, which I do, but it's like I got to bring it in home. You know what I'm saying? Because I do have 4 people that's looking at me every day. It's not, you know what I'm saying, they did get a break, and I got these little lives looking at me, and not just them, but even the kids that I'm bringing in, my cousins and them, and pouring into them and speaking life into them, and they also looking at not what I say, but what I do. What you do. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So that's really my goal, you know what I'm saying? And I told Jay, if you're not trying to love God, get to know God, really mess with him, you can't really mess with me. Yeah. Because that's what type of time I'm on.
And this is what I love about you. You're accomplishing that goal. you're doing it. And, you know, you and I don't talk about this all the time because, like you say, I don't talk until we get into the studio. But there's a spiritual tug of war always at play with you. You have me on one side, always trying to pull you this way, pull you closer and closer to our Father. And then you have your other influences who try to influence you simply because, and they're not doing it to be Machiavellian or anything.
Yeah.
It's just they're being themselves. But their presence in your life influences you a different way. Now, because of your love of God, that's why I love about working with you, you easy. I ain't got to do all the pulling on you. Because God pulled you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You attached to your Father. I just helped the wagon along. But he pulled, you have that relationship with him. So that's why I'm so happy that you are so diligent about instilling that same thing into your children. Because ultimately, like you said at the beginning of the show, people who don't have their own relationship with God, ain't nothing we can do with them. It's just...
They just out there.
Yeah, they're just out there. They're not going. So, man, wow, this was a
good show.
This was a productive conversation. See how you just... This is why I love you. I didn't plan all this. Yeah, listen, I wanted to get in and get out. We've been here for an hour and a half. So, all right, let's wrap this up. So, yeah, guys, I don't know who you're going to see in the studio next. I don't know if it's going to be Memory sitting here. I don't know if it's going to be Porscha sitting here, but it's going to be somebody. It could be Lexus. So I'm not going to make any promises because every time I think I know what's going to happen, something different happens. So until next time, we love you guys. Take care. Peace.